Hi everyone, welcome back to another Neon Surveys product review video. So today we're down on site with Martin Harrington from Navis with their VLX dynamic laser scanner. So this is a scanner that you wear on your shoulders with a belt, and as you walk around it captures everything on site. So yeah, it's an interesting bit of kit. It's going to be interesting to see how it works and what the data quality is like. So we'll catch up with Martin. He'll run through how the kit works. Then we'll have a wander around this site, capture what we need for this job. Then we'll process that, have a look at the data, and then we'll sort of give some pros and cons to the kit and give you guys all the information on the VLX. So let's meet up with Martin. So we're down with Martin from Navis with the VLX. Yeah, interesting bit of kit here. So yeah, Martin, can you just talk us through this scanner, because it certainly looks different to a lot of the other scanners that I've seen and we've used.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. So I'm Martin Harrington from Navis. If you've not heard of Navis, we're a German manufacturer of geospatial technology. We've got this very innovative system called the VLX, and really we're thinking about a solution. We're not just thinking laser scanners, but we've got this dynamic laser scanner. We scan, obviously dynamically, walking around, colorizing with images and dual access sort of LiDARs here, 2 LiDAR pucks, give us maximum coverage. And then that data goes into Ivion, which is our software, and it's processed in the cloud, and we do all sorts of clever things with that.
Yeah, cool. So you're saying we've got 2 scanning heads here. Are they, so one scanning horizontally, one vertically?
Yeah, exactly that. We've got them on 2 sort of axes here. So what that means is we have 16 lasers in each LiDAR puck. And when you walk with it, you've got a LiDAR system above your head and then one sort of on your chest, and that just gives you maximum coverage for when you're walking around dynamically.
Cool. And then we've got obviously all the cameras around which colorise point clouds.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's colorising as we go. So it's you know, it takes a second to colorise. We've got, each camera's got 20 megapixels in it, so it's a really sort of high grade system. The benefit of colorising would be threefold really. So we're colorising, we're giving the RGB, the red, green, blue values to our sort of scan data, but we're also creating pseudo scan positions so we can jump into the data in Ivion, navigate around. We've got the benefits of having the point cloud for measurement, but we've got obviously the high grade imagery as well.
Okay. So
and then beyond that as well, we've got sort of just a system that you can navigate around, and it's beautifully colorized, should we say.
Cool. So then it's all controlled from control screen here on site?
Yeah, you've got a local SLAM algorithm, so we're using the LiDARs to position ourselves. They're obviously balanced and everything, all the parallax effect is all kind of adjusted for at source. So when we're scanning locally, we're giving you a local SLAM, so it's using simultaneous localization and mapping technology to position and measure as we go. Beyond that, really the intelligence is in Ivion. So once we've processed kind of locally, so that's happening instantly, which is shown on this kind of a LED screen here. It's all integrated, so we can see what we're obviously measuring. But beyond that, when we bring the data into Ivion, that's when the cloud processing kicks in and we apply that global SLAM. So it's looking at the data holistically, and also it's verifiable. So if you've got control points, perhaps you've got some coordinates from your total station, it could be nails, retros, you name it. It could be just a point, checkable target, whatever you like. We can bring that data into the system, into Ivion, and actually verify what we've measured.
Yeah, okay. So one of the, let's say, concerns that I have had when I've looked at this before is obviously this element is sat above your head. Now in an external environment like here, it's not an issue. Internally, we've got low doors and stuff like that. Obviously, this isn't cheap bits of kit to fix, and obviously it's concerns about hitting this on things. How do you get around that problem?
We've got proximity sensors, so the system will warn you if you're sort of, I don't know, if there's something hanging, a chandelier or something, if you're particularly tall or you're navigating through low doorways. The way to work with it is you just pivot forward in the belt. So because the concept of having it above your head is to avoid yourself being in the scan, of course, and also give you maximum coverage, because we're scanning behind, so you don't have to kind of walk through doorways in a sort of peculiar fashion and make sure you get an overlap sort of behind you and in front of you as you go. Because of the form factor, that really allows for one, maximum coverage. As I mentioned, the proximity sensors warning you if there's any sort of, anything kind of low in the way. pivot it forward in the belt, or you could actually kind of crouch. I prefer to pivot in the belt.
Yeah.
And you're not kind of compromising your data.
Okay, so we've got collision avoidance in
Exactly,
there to
yeah,
protect
yeah.
the equipment, and then the benefits of the clean data with you not in it. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's interesting. So yeah, so it sits on your shoulders. You got your belt to sort of take the weight
The
as
belt,
well.
belt takes the weight, yeah. So it's about 8 kilos, but the benefit of having the belt really is twofold. One is to take the bulk of the weight, about 80-90% of the weight. The shoulders, it's just kind of position, so it just sort of rests on your shoulders there. You can just have it on your shoulders, but after 20 minutes, half an hour of walking, it can get kind of slightly sort of heavy there. So I tend to sort of have it in the belt, and that allows me to pivot it as well when I'm walking through, like you mentioned, doorways, for instance.
Yeah. So then all the data itself is downloaded to Ivion, or how does the processing
it's written to an SSD drive here, so it goes directly into that. Tons and tons of space on there, so not an issue with actual data storage. Data is very light actually with our system because of the way it's filtered and refined. Once it's written to that SSD drive, plug it into your laptop and literally just push it up to the cloud.
And it's all processed within the cloud.
All
and
processed in Ivion in the cloud, exactly that. Cloud. So basically you just put it in there, forget about it, and then it's ready to go in the morning.
Cool, okie dokie. Right, well I think, let's get this on and have a walk around this site and see how it works.
Yeah, sounds good.
And the data. Cool.
Now we've seen the process with the VLX on site, I thought I'd show you Ivion, the processing software. So this is your sort of home screen. You would upload the data from the device to Ivion and do all your processing within the cloud. So you have some nice little features that you can do while processing. You can adjust some sort of auto cloud cleaning, so taking out noise from your data, but you can tweak it to do certain areas of the walk in more detail, I believe, than other areas. So you can sort of speed up or slow down the processing software, the processing time. And then once you've got your walks, you can link all your walks together to produce your overall point cloud, which you can then download and use as you see fit. So we'll have a quick look at some of these example data sets that Navis have on Ivion. So obviously you can see your geo-referenced location as to where the site is. And then you've obviously got list of functions, or the most recent visited site. So let's jump onto one of these sites and you can have a look at what the data looks like. So this is the sort of 360 panoramic photos that you can take with the VLX, and then obviously you can move through and to different locations wherever the photos were taken. You can then obviously within the processing process you can add points of interest. So for example, we've got one here on this sign, so signpost, and then you can sort of add different bits of information. Which again is quite a nice feature if you're doing sort of conditioner survey inspections. So yeah, this is sort of the photographic imagery that comes from the photos built in. So yeah, it's quite good quality photos. So now let's jump over and we'll actually look at the point cloud itself. So you have a few options, and when you first open it, it is generally in this balanced format. So this is trying to make it so it downloads and is viewable as quickly as possible over the internet. So again, in this setting you get a nice overview of your site, but it's not super detailed. So we can then go into and change the quality. So if we go into the highest quality, it will regenerate and you can start to see the quality of the scan data. So as you can see, as it regenerates, it is good looking scan data. You could quite easily plot a few things. So again, another point of interest in here, sort of thing. So yeah, that's what these cliffs look like. So yeah, nice little data set. So let's jump back to all sites and we will perhaps let's have a look at this site, see what we've got. So again, we're now, because we had point cloud turned on, it's remembered all our settings from the previous job, so has loaded those up. So let's go have a look over at this sort of building for an elevation drawing if that was part of your project. So again, as you can see, it's good looking scan data. Yes, as you go up the building it starts to thin out a little bit, but again that's sort of the nature of these mobile mapping devices. But yeah, certainly if you were wanting to do say a topographical or just a building, ground floor building outline, curb lines and street furniture, this is sort of good data. A bit too far. So yeah, so you've got manhole covers that you can clearly see. You can clearly see the change in surfaces. So yeah, it's nice looking data. So yeah, so that's a quick overview of Ivion. There is a lot more things it does, but yeah, that's perhaps more of a tutorial video, so I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, it's to give an overview of the processing software. So we'll now jump back to the studio and give our conclusions. So that's an insight into how the VLX works on site and both processing, and as you can probably tell, it's been a bit of time since we did the work on site, so it's given both myself and Will plenty of time to have a think about the pros and the cons of the VLX. So yeah, so we're going to go through sort of our 5 pros and cons to it, but to start off with, I'd like to say thank you to Navis and Martin for bringing the VLX down, letting us get our hands on it and have a play with it. So we're going to start with the negatives for it. I'm going to go through 5 negatives on there. So let's start with the elephant in the room, the look of it. As surveyors, we are used to getting odd looks from members of the public and people on sites that we work on, but the VLX is very different. It's there's nothing else out there on the market that looks like it, and you will get some odd looks and some sort of what the heck is that sort of
comments and you look like a stormtrooper stuff. So there's going to be some interaction with passers-by, so that is a possible negative interfering with your workflow. The second negative, as we see it, is the weight. It is a bit heavy, although you have a belt harness and it sits very nicely on your shoulders. There is the possibility of, if you've been scanning for sort of a whole 8 hours, by the end of the day, you might start to feel the weight a little bit. So yeah, it's a consideration to take into account. Third negative is going to be your processing speed, in the sense of not the actual processing speed in Ivion, but it is the time it's going to take you from finishing on site to getting a file that you can work with to do your drawings is going to be slightly affected by your internet speed, because you have to upload the data to Ivion. So if you've got really quick internet, you're not going to have that much of an issue. If you've got slow internet, it could sort of start to affect the processing time. Fourth one would be battery life. Although the batteries are good and they do last a decent amount of time, with all our kit, because it's battery operated, you have to take into consideration how much time you're going to get out of those batteries while on site, and whether you need to take charging equipment with you if you're going to have to charge a set while you're using the second set. And our final negative is just the general size of the box. Although it is a really good, nice, hard, sturdy box, it is a big box, and it's not the kind of equipment that is sort of carried in a backpack that you could just jump on a plane or jump in a car type thing. You are going to have to factor in, if you are going abroad with this kit, that you are going to have to put it in the hold of a plane and put it in the hands of baggage handlers. So there are 5 negatives to the VLX. So now let's look at the positives. The big positive is the quality of the data. It is good looking data. It is almost, I would say, as good as sort of a tripod mounted scanner, but obviously you have the perks of it being mobile and being able to cover ground quite quickly. Second positive is cloud processing. Once you've got your data up into the cloud, it's being processed in the cloud. You don't have to buy expensive computer equipment, sort of powerful computers for processing large amounts of data. So there's a cost saving there. You're not having to invest in computer equipment. Our third positive is, although I said it was a negative, the box, everything is in the box. Your charger, your batteries, your device, your torque wrench for putting it together. Door stops. Navis have been really nice in putting all those little bits and pieces that you may sort of need when on site. Some of them you do need, like the torque wrench, but they've put them all in the box. They've thought it through. You're not having to sort of think, all right, I need to add to my equipment door stops. The fourth positive is with Ivion. You can give your clients login details so they can access and view the data and sort of have the 360 panoramic viewing of the site. So if your clients aren't physically going on site, they can do a virtual site visit. So that's another nice positive of the Ivion software. And then the fifth one, that again, when I first looked at the VLX, I wasn't aware it did, so it's really nice that it's in there, is the collision avoidance. Because you've got that scanner head above your head, there obviously is the risk with doors and stuff like that of hitting it, but it's got some really nice collision avoidance, give you some warning, enabling you to lower it down and avoid that collision. So yeah, so there are negatives and positives to the VLX. Overall, it is I believe it is a really good scanner. The quality of the data is really nice, and you have that advantage of mobile mapping. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Have we missed anything on our product review of the VLX? And obviously, if you're interested in it, then reach out to Martin or the guys at Navis. And yeah, sort of like, follow, subscribe and all of those things to see any of our product reviews, and also head over to Navis's social media and follow them, and you can sort of keep up to date with what they're doing and the tweaks they're doing to this kit. So catch you all soon.